Mr. Freeman Art, how to win at GCSE. In this video we're going to develop the centered pattern that we did in the last video. We're going to replace the simple shapes with trainer logos. Every year someone tries to do a project based on trainers, so what I've tried to do is find a simple way using very simple techniques to get a lot of marks for your GCSE art. I've started off by printing some logos off the internet, but you could photograph the logos on the trainers yourself, because that would make your source primary rather than secondary, so it'd be worth more marks. And then I'm just copying the logos onto a piece of paper. It's a little bit dull just doing it in pencil, so what I'm doing now is I'm adding more logos on top, slightly larger, but using the Biro to colour them in, so you can still see the other logos underneath. So we're sort of building a layered picture up. This allows us to use a second media, so it again increases the score slightly, but also makes a much more interesting image. Before, when I just worked in pencil and all the logos were equally spaced, it gives the picture a sort of feeling of wallpaper, whereas now it looks like a real picture. Much more interesting. I've drawn all the logos freehand, but you could use tracing paper, a light box, or just hold them up to the window and use the light to allow you to trace them through. The finished picture I think is quite interesting. We're now going to develop this idea further, and I've got a new piece of paper, and what I'm doing is working from the centre outwards. I'm using liquid mask. We're trying to create the feeling of a vortex or spinning, so the marks I'm putting start off with quite a thick blob and then trail away. I'm not painting with a brush, I'm just using a stick. Liquid mask, it's quite rubbery, and what we're going to do is we're going to create this spinning pattern all around the picture. I'm just changing the blob slightly now to be wider and make it look like they're going slightly slower, just to make a difference from the beginning. So we're going to go all the way around until we have finished. The liquid mask we'll have to leave to dry for a few minutes, and then we're going to start painting the pattern on. I'm using the standard school watercolours, and this is very basic painting skills. So what we're doing is we're mixing up some watery purple, and then with something like an 8 or a 10 brush I am working a circular pattern around, painting over the top of the liquid mask. I'll now wash the brush, and I'm now using lots of water to spread out that colour. A bit more paint again. So we're painting the circular pattern over the top of the liquid mask and then trying to wash it away to blend the colour out. Okay, as you get more water on, you can add slightly more paint on. I'm working outwards, washing it out, spinning it out. I'm not a fan of backgrounds, but because this is forming part of the picture, it isn't just simply a background, but we're going to keep the colours very light and pale because it is in the background. And more images are going to go on top, so we want this to be subtle and light, so lots of water, and don't paint directly from the palette. This is very basic painting. Okay, lots of water. I'm using a second colour now, just a bit of blue, just to add a little bit more interest to it, but it's primarily purple with just some blue touches. It's meant to look a little bit like a tunnel now, as if you're looking down a hole. Give the paint enough time to dry, and then just using your finger very carefully rub the mask off, and this should reveal lovely white lines where the liquid mask was. So we've got the subtle blue and purple background with these very sharp, very crisp white shapes. We're now going to add the trainer logos onto our picture, and what I'm doing is I'm turning the picture around so they'll all be upside down. So I'm always drawing them the right way up, but spinning the picture around when I draw each one. Again, you could trace them if you can't draw too well, or use a light box, but I'm trying to draw them freehand. I'm trying to make them large on the outside and very small in the middle. So as you look down the hole, they get smaller, and the ones that are close to us are larger. Okay, it's very important at this stage that you don't press on with the pencil. Draw as light as you can. If you get bored of drawing the logos, get the paints and start to paint some of them. It stops you getting bored. Mix things up. A bit of drawing, a bit of painting, just makes it more interesting. So what we're doing now is I'm painting in the logos with a very pale purple, lots and lots of water. Watercolour is a very subtle medium, and this is going to be a very subtle picture. I'm painting some in blue and some in purple, so we're using the same colours as before, only 2 colours. I keep spinning the paper around so my hand doesn't smudge any of the wet paint. The thinking behind this piece is the logos and brand exploitation dragging the customer into the abyss. But we're also just creating an interesting image and using watercolour in your portfolio to show another media used. No three-dimensional drawing and only simple painting skills to create a very interesting image. The link with the first two pictures can easily be seen by the examiner, and then the finished picture mounted. If this video has been helpful, please leave a comment and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Look out for other quality video content to help you win at GCSE Art.